Hey everyone, this is Sean. Welcome back to my channel. I decided today to go live for maybe about 5 minutes. A subscriber named Social Security Specialist sent me a text message of a link to a video that involved a San Bernardino County Sheriff's deputy who was the victim of assault with a deadly weapon, if not attempted murder. And this person was acquitted. Those of you who don't know what acquitted means is, what it means is the person was found not guilty. Doug is listening every time of the day. Anyhow, this case has a lot of bearing on private security. I mean, tons of bearing. If not, this is alarming, and I need you guys to pay attention, especially if you're in California. If you're in another state, just keep in mind that what happens in California tends to have a trickle-down, hand-me-down effect on your state. So here's what I learned. The San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department got a call in 2019 at a residence in Victorville, California. Deputies arrive on scene, and one of the deputies, named Megan McCarthy, is approached by a male subject who is obviously agitated, advancing towards her, and he ends up grappling her, taking her to the ground. He ends up breaking her thumb. He broke her thumb. He ends up disarming the deputy, and he ends up firing at the deputy. Doug says, I remember her. Yes, this was 3 years ago. Time flies so quickly. I think this was September 2019. What crime do you guys think that is? Think about it. Deputy makes contact with somebody who's irate. That person advances towards the deputy. They get into a physical confrontation. He breaks her thumb. He disarms the deputy and starts firing at the deputy, not hitting her. Yes, that's attempted murder. Yes, Doug, that's attempted murder. This case goes to trial, and this scumbag is found not guilty. Not guilty. So what I normally do before I do my more in-depth research is I make these forecasts, these predictions, just to make sure I'm still on point with the rule of law. I'm still on point with my understanding of criminal procedures. What would cause this incident, or why would this person be found not guilty? And my forecast before looking at any more details was that this is a mental health call, a behavioral health call. The deputies maybe didn't have any probable cause to place this person under arrest or into custody. But my initial guess or forecast was this was a mental health call. And sure enough, this was a mental health call. What happens in these circumstances is the defense is going to argue that the officers didn't have enough reasonable suspicion to conduct the pat-down. And the argument is, this is a mental health case, a behavioral health case. The question is, do the deputies really need to be there? And that's a good question. Do the deputies need to be there? And I would advise just about any law enforcement officer out there, even those of you who want to be law enforcement officers, ask yourself this question. Do I really need to be there? Do I really need to be at the scene? Can I just leave? Because as a law enforcement officer, and I'm speaking on behalf of Sean only, there was times as a watch commander, I just had my guys just clear. Because the chances, if we have to force entry into a house with a barricaded person who's only a threat to themselves, the chances of us getting involved in officer-involved shooting are pretty good. Why did we even have to go in there when this person was suicidal to begin with? Maybe homicidal. Now, if there's family members inside the house, that's a different story. There's a new policy in the last 3 years, and this is an unwritten policy of disengagement. Do I really need to be there? When I mean I'm talking about law enforcement. Did the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department really have to be there? Okay, this person was causing a disturbance. This person needed mental health help. Did the deputies need to be there? Now, I would still argue, yes, they did. But now, in the year 2023, I question that. I really do. So what you're going to get in private security is a new policy of disengagement. You're going to call the police department and you're going to say, hey, there's this guy is talking to himself. He's throwing stuff on my property. He's tossing rocks all over the place. He's saying that he's hearing voices in his head. You're going to call the police department and they're going to ask you, well, is there anybody nearby? And you're going to say, well, yes, I'm security. I'm in charge of this premises and I'm nearby. And the dispatchers, what they're going to end up saying is go ahead and go to a safe location and just hide out there for about 20 minutes. If he's still there, then give us another call. That's the policy of engagement that you're going to get. Because I'll tell you this, if I am a San Bernardino County Sheriff's Deputy assigned to the Victorville Station, you better be damn sure that if I need to be somewhere, that I really need to be there. If it's a mental health call, I might just clear. And if security is involved, they're the ones calling, I might just clear. And I'm not talking on behalf of myself. I'm not talking on behalf of law enforcement. I'm just opening different ideas to you guys. Those of you who work security in hospitals, I have a huge question for you. Have you noticed over the past 3 years, maybe 4 years, that violence in the hospital system has been escalating since you've been private security? Open-ended question. Please answer in the comment section below. My hypothesis is that it has been escalating. And why is that? Because of the law enforcement policy of disengagement. This person is only a danger to themselves. Why am I going to go hands-on with this person? If I go hands-on on the person, I am going to get an IA, internal affairs. There's going to be cameras all around me, and I'm going to be featured. I'm going to be a meme on social media. I'm going to be featured on all the YouTube channels. That's the thought that law enforcement has out there. Now, does it affect my thought or my process? I'm not going to disclose that on camera. But a lot of people that I know, it affects the way they handle situations. Now, a lot of these people who are mentally ill, who have behavioral health challenges, they end up in the hospital system. Okay, so law enforcement is now pushing the issue of, hey, this is a behavioral health. And notice I mentioned the word health. This is a health issue. This person has medical problems. Therefore, what ends up happening is the ambulance or paramedics, they transport this person to the hospital without a police officer or law enforcement officer present. And you get to deal with this person. You get to deal with this person as a security officer. And you don't have the luxury of having sworn officers restrain this person. It's going to get worse out there. But I just want you to keep in mind out there, you guys need to be really safe. Be safe. It doesn't matter what state you're in. The policy of disengagement is going to wreck you. There's going to be a point in time where violence is just going to keep escalating. Now, right now, this year alone, actually, violent crimes have went down significantly. But we're going to keep, my hypothesis, we're going to keep peaking up, maybe 6 years, 7 years. And then there's going to be a point in time where Democrat policy makers are going to have to start reconsidering the policies that they have executed in the past. So just be careful, guys. I can't believe that this deputy got her thumb broken, shot at, and the jury believed that those shots were not directed at the deputy. And when I saw her interview, her title is former San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department deputy, not current. She probably said, hell with this. I'm not going to risk life and limb when the jury's not going to back me up. The public's not going to back me up. So all I'm saying is, if you're a police officer, you want to be an aspiring police officer, make sure that you have reasonable cause, at least reasonable cause to believe that criminal activity. Now notice I said criminal activity is afoot. It's present. If that's present, then you can conduct a pat-down search for weapons if you believe that person might be armed. In order to place somebody under arrest as a police officer and a security officer, you have to have reasonable cause that that person committed a crime, and you have to make sure that an actual crime actually occurred. So let me just go through the comments real quick. Make sure I don't leave anybody out. Pimp Poppy says they're both lawyers in criminal defense. There's both lawyers and criminal defense. I don't understand what that means. Doug says, when I worked at a hospital, over 80% of mental patients faked it to get free food and bed to sleep at for the night. Caught several of them joking about. Yes, Doug, that's a good. That's great that you captured that. When I worked at a behavioral health unit, it was a couple of days before the first of the month. So this was like the last couple of days of the month. The behavioral health patients, they ran out of money, and they would check in and they would state that they're suicidal so that they could get free shelter, free food. They did not budget accordingly, and that's what happens in the hospital system. The last couple of days, I don't know, do you guys notice the same thing? The last couple of days before the month, you get an influx of behavioral health patients, and then the first of the month, when the welfare checks come in, they start disappearing. Let me just make sure I didn't forget nothing here. Pimp Poppy says, will you go on recce law or law and self-defense? Both be a good topic to discuss. I could... What would be a good topic? The self-defense? This is something I might have to research. I don't understand what he's trying to say here. Hey guys, if you guys could just make sure that you speak articulately in the comments so I can understand what you're saying. I really want to help you guys. I don't want to sound coming off arrogant, but I need to know what you're trying to convey to me. Okay guys and gals, that's all I have. Looking forward to the comment section box below. Please be safe out there.